My mom works as a house cleaner for a diverse range of clients, each coming from different backgrounds and cultures. One family she cleans for regularly is a Middle Eastern household that moved to Canada years ago. She visits their home twice a week, and over time she's gotten to know the family's unique dynamics. The wife, who initially hired Molly Maid, has taken on the majority of the household responsibilities, despite also managing an impressive workload outside the home. Her day starts early. She rises before dawn to prepare their 2 children for school. The youngest child, not wanting to switch schools when the family moved to a new neighborhood, now attends a school outside their district, adding an extra layer of complexity to her morning routine. After dropping them off, her workday begins as an Uber driver, specializing in delivering goods from Walmart to various customers across the city. But her day doesn't end there. She also runs a home-based cake baking business, which involves gathering supplies, baking, and delivering cakes to clients. This cycle continues until the school day ends, at which point she picks up the kids, heads home, and prepares dinner for the family. By the time she finishes her day, she's ready for bed around 8 p.m., only to start the process all over again the next day. She does this 5 days a week, managing both her household and multiple jobs with remarkable dedication and resilience. Her husband, on the other hand, seems to take a more passive role in the household. As a stay-at-home dad, one might expect him to share in the household duties, but his involvement appears limited to providing moral support. However, even this support is undermined by his lack of understanding of his wife's workload. He's often puzzled by her early bedtime, seemingly unaware of how much she accomplishes each day. His reluctance to engage in domestic chores like cooking and cleaning stems from a belief deeply rooted in traditional gender roles, namely that such tasks are women's work. This situation highlights the complexities of cultural traditions, particularly in how they manifest in a different societal context. Every culture has its own set of values and norms, shaped by centuries of tradition. In many Middle Eastern families, there is a clear delineation of roles, with the mother primarily responsible for nurturing the children and managing the home, while the father's role becomes more prominent as the children grow older, often taking on the responsibility of instilling discipline and focus. This system can work well within its cultural context, where extended family support and community expectations reinforce these roles. However, when transplanted to a different country with different societal norms, these roles can feel restrictive and potentially risky. For instance, the family's heavy reliance on the mother as the sole breadwinner places them in a precarious position. If she were to experience a serious accident or illness, their primary source of income would be at risk, highlighting the fragility of their situation. While people are certainly free to live according to their cultural values, it's important to recognize when these values might be at odds with their current environment or even counterproductive. This family's dynamic also mirrors a broader trend in today's self-help culture, particularly the rise of the Sigma male ideology. This concept has gained traction in certain circles, particularly among men who feel disillusioned with modern societal expectations and gender roles. The Sigma male is often portrayed as a lone wolf, someone who operates outside traditional social hierarchies and is self-reliant, independent, and successful on their own terms. The roots of this ideology can be traced back to Theodore Robert Beale, who blogs under the pseudonym Vox Day. Beale, a controversial figure with strong Christian nationalist views, expanded on the idea of male hierarchies, categorizing men into various roles like alpha, beta, and sigma. According to Beale, sigmas exist outside the typical hierarchy, adjacent to alphas but not bound by the same social constraints. The Sigma male ideology is often linked to natural hierarchies observed in the animal kingdom, particularly among wolves. Jordan Peterson, a well-known figure in the self-help community, frequently references these natural hierarchies, arguing that they are an inherent part of human life. He posits that women select mates based on their position within these hierarchies, which he claims is a fundamental aspect of evolutionary biology. However, the idea of an alpha wolf has been widely discredited. The original studies that introduced this concept were flawed, based on observations of wolves in captivity rather than in the wild. When observed in their natural habitat, wolves actually organize themselves more like a family unit rather than a strict hierarchy, which undermines the foundation of the Sigma male concept. Despite these shaky foundations, the Sigma male ideology has found a following, particularly among those who feel alienated by mainstream societal norms. This ideology is often reinforced by popular culture, where characters like John Wick, Walter White, and Patrick Bateman from American Psycho are held up as examples of Sigma males. However, these characters are deeply flawed and, in many cases, not meant to be role models. Patrick Bateman, for instance, is a narcissistic, delusional serial killer, a character that was intended as a satirical critique of toxic masculinity and consumer culture, not as someone to emulate. Yet, in the manosphere, Bateman is often idealized as the quintessential Sigma male, a clear misinterpretation of the character and the story. Modern-day figures like Andrew Tate, Mark Wahlberg, and Elon Musk are also cited as Sigma males, but their lifestyles and behaviors are often impractical or problematic. Wahlberg's extreme daily routine, which starts at 2:30 a.m., may be inspiring to some, but it's hardly realistic for most people. Musk, while undeniably successful, often comes across as erratic and disconnected in interviews, raising questions about his suitability as a role model. The Sigma female concept, which attempted to parallel the Sigma male, has largely failed to gain traction. This is likely because women, as a group, have already built strong social networks and identities over the years. Unlike men, who have lost many traditional social spaces, women have continued to foster community and connection, which has allowed them to adapt and thrive in modern society. Men, on the other hand, have often responded to the rise of women in the workplace with anxiety and resistance. Instead of learning to work together, some men have retreated into outdated ideas about gender roles, leading to the development of ideologies like the Sigma male. These ideologies are often built on a foundation of resentment and a desire to return to a time when men held undisputed authority. However, this approach is ultimately counterproductive. Instead of isolating themselves and clinging to outdated beliefs, men would benefit from rebuilding healthy connections, fostering genuine relationships, and embracing a more inclusive and collaborative approach to life. In the end, the Sigma male ideology, like the gender roles observed in the Middle Eastern family my mom works for, represents a narrow and limiting view of masculinity. While it may appeal to those who feel disconnected from modern society, it ultimately fails to offer a sustainable or fulfilling path forward. True strength lies not in isolating oneself or rigidly adhering to outdated norms, but in adapting, connecting, and growing with the world around us.